Vice Chair for her welcoming remarks. Melba Da Silva has been our Vice Chair since our inception in 2018. She was born and raised in Montreal, Quebec with Vincentian heritage. She's our bilingual member. She is a past president of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Association of Toronto in 2007. She is currently managing properties here in Ontario and having established a branch of her company in St. Vincent. She's developing a condominium project at Villa in St. Vincent, so she has more of a vested interest in how quickly SVG could bounce back from any disaster. Thank you, Melba. So we just have a slight tweak in the program. We were going to have our remarks from our chair next. However, we do have one of our supporting partners here from GlobalMedic, Raul Singh, and he has to leave early. So we are going to let him do the honors and just present on GlobalMedics and disasters. Welcome, Raul.
Thanks. Apologies for having to leave a little early. As you know, we're running a lot of operations in the Bahamas, and we have a team touching back down in a little bit. I've got to go meet them and then get another team out, and another team went out this morning as well. So I'll just give you an understanding of what we do as an agency. We're very familiar with St. Vincent the Grenadines. We're very good friends with Fitz. He's a great consul for you guys. He's managed to get a fire truck, a couple of ambulances, some of our Global Fire members down there teaching and training some firefighters in St. Vincent the Grenadines. So we're in the middle of maybe trying to get a drone program going where we come out and map out the island, so you have a pre, not that we ever want to see a disaster strike, but you have a current situation snapshot of what it looks like, and then obviously where the risk areas are. That's another project that we're working on. But GlobalMedic as an agency, what we do is we're disaster response professionals. We're a group of professional rescuers, so paramedics, police officers, firefighters. We all volunteer our time and our skill set, and we deploy. Bahamas is now the 214th mission that we have run in the 72nd country that we've worked in just roughly over the last decade. So I'd say that qualifies as fairly well seasoned. To give you an idea of what we're doing in the Bahamas, we have a team that initially landed in Nassau on the 4th, which is the day after the hurricane passed. We put operations up into Abaco, delivered aid. We put a team up into Grand Bahama, with a base in Freeport, where we have trucks in a warehouse, and we've been deploying aid out there. And I'll run you through some of the things that we've done. So one of the first missions that we did was to install point of source water purification units, just to get people clean drinking water right away, because as you know, without clean water, people get into a world of trouble, their kids get sick, and there's all kinds of problems that occur. So those units start producing 12 liters a minute, which in about 20 minutes we could take care of everybody here. So even though they're small, they're really good in terms of their production. So 6 of those units are up and running and spread out across in churches and in different communities and different compounds. Then we started putting in family emergency kits, which is the stuff that we would do for St. Vincent as well if St. Vincent were to ever get hit. So inside a family emergency kit, I want you to imagine a box. And inside the box is the solutions to the problems that families face. So what do you think the very first thing is that families will face post-hurricane? It's water. It's going to be clean drinking water. So if we give families a low-tech, gravity, no electricity, no moving parts, very simple filter to purify their water, so a 2-bucket ceramic filter that works everywhere, and they're able to clean their water, that's a great solution. So we put that in. Then we put hygiene items in, toothbrush, toothpaste, soap, just so mom can keep the kids clean and keep everybody good and healthy and disease-free. Then we added a solar light, right? Because we know there's going to be no power for a little bit. They get a little bit of illumination and a solar light. And then the last thing we add in is a Pedialyte, which is basically oral rehydration sachet. So if you've been dehydrated, this will reverse it. So our methodology is, here's a problem, here's a solution. We put 4,768 of those kits into the Bahamas. So if the average family size is 4 in the Bahamas, right, I think it's like 3.8, then that's enough for about 18,000 people, which means we're covering about 1/3 to 31% of the crisis overall, which is really good for a small agency like ours, right? Then we added in what we call an emergency food pack. And I think many of you from the community here, Fitz has been out, other folks have been out to watch us to come do this and participate and help. And what we did was we took some staples of food that we know that folks in the Bahamas like, so peas, kidney beans, and then some lentils, and then some long grain rice. And we put those staples, we packaged them into smaller bags. So we bought them in 50 kilo, 100 kilo bags, and we packaged them into 500 grams, 550 gram bags. We put 4 of each or 5 of each into a bucket, like a square bucket, and we sealed it. So now the bucket can be used to fetch water that can go with our family emergency kit. And then you get all these staples of foods that we know folks are able to cook with and can use and they like and are healthy and tasty and relevant. And believe it or not, because we bought 35 tons of this food, metric, so 35,000 kilos of this food, we've had, last weekend, 500 volunteers come in to pack all these kits, and the weekend before it was 250. And then this week it was 100 during the week. So we've had almost 1,000 people come through to help Bahamians that they'll never meet or not know. And because they come in and repack all this is what we're running at a cost. For 1 kilogram of food to be packaged, put into that bag, put into that bucket, sealed, driven to the airport, flown to Nassau, unloaded from the aircraft, put on a boat, plane, or helicopter, moved up to Freeport, unloaded into our truck, into our warehouse, onto a smaller pickup truck, up to the church and distributed to a family, we're running at $1.12 a kilo. $1.12. I argue with anyone here to walk into Sobeys or Loblaws with $1.12, and you tell me if you walk out with a kilo of rice or kidney beans or green lettuce, you might get half a pack of gum, right? Like, so I mean, for us to be able to run at that, and we put about 3,500 of those kits out there now, right? So there's a lot of assistance that's going on. Now it's all the hard part, right? Making sure we get to the right folks. So we've got 2 of our members on a big giant Coast Guard cutter from Sea Shepherd. These are the good pirates of the sea. So they're parked off one of the keys in Abaco, and they're going in on the military rib that they've got, and they pull up and they beach on shore. The community comes down and meets them, and they deliver aid that way as well. Then we put in some very, very big military tents, like the stuff that you see the U.S. military use in Afghanistan. And we've got 4 of those tents down there. So I'm just getting reports that one's going to go up to support a church, to warehouse more goods, to go out into the community, like a forward area, which is perfect. And 2 have been put up for an animal shelter, because you can imagine all these folks in Abaco that had to evacuate, they weren't allowed to bring their pets. So dozens of people have come in and rescued all these pets, put them on boats and planes, and then brought them out. Now people don't know where their pets are, so they're in this animal shelter that we put up the tents for, and people are starting to reclaim their pets. And I mean, if you think, anybody in the room that has a dog or a cat, you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you think that pets aren't important to folks, I mean, they are. And they certainly help with the recovery process. So this is all good stuff. We're going to continue our work in the Bahamas, but the reason I'm highlighting what we're doing in the Bahamas is this is exactly what we would do in St. Vincent and the Grenadines if it's hit by a storm, right? So the very basics: get people clean water, provide rescue and drone support, provide those kits at both ends. We would beg for all of you to come out and help us pack these kits to drive costs down, because everybody's pitched in. Air Canada, anybody fly Air Canada?
Yeah.
Fantastic airline. Don't ever complain about them again.
I don't.
They, internally, as a group of people in their special operations center, okay, they have rerouted 7 aircraft, a total of 4 times, just to give us a 767 4 different times. The 767 is a huge plane. It only carries 80 passengers down because it's September and it's like low season, right? But they don't mind. They gave us the bigger plane so we could put 30 skids of aid. If every skid's 1,000 kilos, you need 30 tons every time. And they've done this 4 times. That's phenomenal. But this is what they should do, right? They have the capacity. In reality, that plane, whether it flies here or here, it's going to cost them the same thing on daily operations. The only increase is the efficiency of us being able to deliver humanitarian assistance, right? So the fact that they've done that one 4 times, and I mean, let's face it, when they fly, but I'm not getting 1,000 kits in at a time. I'm not getting big tents in unless that 767 is going, right? And they've been terrific. WestJet, Sunwing, they've helped us out as well. In fact, tonight there's a Sunwing flight, wheels up at 18:30. It'll be carrying 511 of those little buckets with the food in it. Each one weighs 10 kgs, right? So this is a lot of food going down. There's going to be a lot of unhappy cargo handlers, getting their arm workout in today, but it's okay. There'll be a lot of unhappy folks unloading, but it's okay. This is the way we've got to do it. So if St. Vincent and the Grenadines were to get hit, these are the types of programs that we run. And now, as we transition, we would crush and kill the local market if all we did was put another 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 tons of food, right? We would. So we can't do that. So as we transition, what we're doing now is we're working with local vendors and the local market and saying, we want to run these same programs, except with Bahamians, right? We want Bahamians volunteering, or the women that are in the shelter that are displaced, that don't have jobs, let's hire them. We'll give them cash for work, no problem. Have them come in, package some food, right? Our donors like that, but they understand when we give affected people money and how it helps them. And then that food will go out. So in Nassau, what we're trying to set up right now is, you can imagine there are families that are hosting their family members from Abaco. Well, these people are generally forgotten about because they're not in a shelter, and they could use some support. So if that's who we give the food kits to in Nassau, that we pack in Nassau, that we hire women to, from the shelters to come in and pack, that's an excellent program. That's good aid delivery, right? And it helps the local market. So if you help the local market, it means jobs, helps the economy, right? Like it's a very important thing. So it's a good full circle. Like in those first few days, absolutely, let's get the live save, let's get that aid rolled in. And we think we're good with this 4768 FEKs and 35,000 kilos of food, guys, right? And in addition to that, we put down 6,000 pounds of emergency pet food as well, just for those. We're gonna have some fat rescue pets, which is good. So we're doing a very similar thing in Freeport as well that we're setting up. And the key now is all about trying to transition to emergency job creation and some livelihood restoration, and just restoring that market as well to help them out. So, because for those of you familiar with it, Freeport was probably economically more disadvantaged than, let's say, Nassau ahead of the crisis. So any rebound in there will help as well. Any questions at all about GlobalMedic?
If you would like to volunteer, how can you get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the best way to volunteer, and don't say if you'd like to volunteer, I expect everyone here to volunteer. I want you out. You go on our website, globalmedic.ca, you sign up as a volunteer, and what we do is we just put out notifications. So if you were signed up a couple weeks ago, you'd see these emails coming out saying, we need volunteers on this day, at this time, in this location, and you're packing food. We need them here, and we do this all day long. So in the last, let's say, since Labor Day, we've run 10 packing events, and 20, like every second day. We're doing, tomorrow we have a packing event at a school, something that we're doing for Syria. This Thursday or Friday we'll do another packing event, because you can imagine what's happened to all of our stockpiles now, right? Like we're depleted. We just built up, yesterday we had 80 people come out, and we built up some more so that we're ready for the next one, right? And we put some more aid into that war in Syria, which is an ugly war. But yeah, so if you want to volunteer, just sign up, globalmedic.ca, and you'll get those emails. Next question.
I actually have some people who have contacted us regarding the GlobalMedic volunteer program. Now, I know you were stationed out in Etobicoke. Do you, like you said, you go to different areas, or do they only volunteer in Etobicoke?
So we do it in two ways. We normally do it at our office, and we get people coming in just because it's easier for us to set up and run, and especially when we're doing immediate to the aircraft, just-in-time delivery, like we want everything in our control. And many of those events, like literally we would build on the Friday morning, tender to Air Canada at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that plane went up, wheels up at 8 o'clock in the morning, which means all those cargo guys are going all night getting it set. Because we don't want any excuses, right? It's not like you lost my bag. This is, you're going to cost people some food. So some of the other stuff we would do out here, like let's say you had a big community out here and you had a big hall or a big church and you wanted to do something out here, we could look at it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're in the middle of hurricane season now, so I'd say for next year, if we wanted to pre-position some aid and do some packing in addition, like in order to get aid ready, that's something that we could do out here. And we always do that, like we do what we call home and away events, like so, home turf's always in Etobicoke, but we run probably half as many in, abroad. Like we ran one at University of Waterloo the other day. We had 600 teenage kids from the Latter-day Saints. So 300 teenagers on one day and 300 the next day. It's a bit of a headache, but they're nice kids, and they pack about 80,000 meals for folks in Syria. So we will go abroad. We will go up to Waterloo to do that, right? So, other questions? All right, so I'll leave you in closing with this. It's great that you guys are rallying together. it's great that you're putting this together because it will happen. You will get hit by a hurricane. There's no doubt in my mind. Statistically, it will occur. And when it does occur, you'll have lots of folks in need that are reliant upon you for their assistance, right? And if you approach it in a hodgepodge manner, you're not going to be effective with aid delivery. And I'm very proud of us as an agency, especially when I can turn around and say for $1.12, for every $1.12 you gave me, we got a kilo of food to a family in need. Like, that's mind-boggling, you know, for folks, right? Like, even our family emergency kits, you know, for $50 to be able to give a family clean drinking water for the year, those hygiene items, the solar light, and then the oral rehydration sachets. I mean, if you tried to buy those oral rehydration sachets alone in Miami, you'd be paying $20. You can imagine how much a water kit would cost. Like, the solar light's probably another 15. Like, you think of it, and we drive these costs down because of volunteers. So good for you for organizing and getting together. And then we're always there as a partnership model. Like, what we always will want from you is your manpower, your personnel power. Like, we want your rallying force to come out. We want Energy to come out and pack this aid and help, because that's you giving up your time, which is basically your money, right? I mean, if I had to pay someone, you know, $15 an hour, you know, to do this and pack this, you're saving us money in order to do that. We always want your financial donations as well. So if you look for, hey, what group am I going to give to? Always think of us for that early intervention that makes an impact. We always call it the right aid to the right people at the right time, and I'm very convinced that we get the right aid out. I know we reach the right people, and I would say the right time was, you know, immediately following that storm. So, all right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.